Hola, buenas tardes. ¿Qué onda? ¿Todo bien? My name is Ravi, and I have been working at Elementum as an engineering manager. I'm originally from India, and I worked there for 3 years, and then I've been working in Silicon Valley for more than 7 years. And pretty much this time last year, I moved to Argentina. And man, I love this place. It's an awesome country. And today, I'd like to tell you a story, something very personal, something about me. When I moved to Silicon Valley 7 years ago, I started working in a big company. But then, man, the energy was exciting. A lot of meetups, amazingly smart people, a lot of companies changing the world. And I loved reading about the tech blogs, all the new projects coming out, the open source stuff going on. And I saw a lot of people working in startups and making a difference. And I really wanted to do that. So after took some time, and then I joined a startup, and I started working with really smart people. And every day you go to work and solve some complex problems, and then you have to learn something new to make it happen. It was exciting and really cool. And slowly doing that, I kind of didn't understand what was going on with me. Every day I'm slowly drinking more coffee, more than what I do, like 3 to 5 cups. And my conversations for opinion differences, be it technical or how we do things, they're turning into, irritations and confrontations. And also I'm working a lot of hours. Then my relationships outside work started getting affected. And at that time, I was thinking, but I couldn't figure what's going on. I thought, well, everything is fine. I'm doing these things. I don't know why this is like that. But one day, this was 3 years ago, right before Thanksgiving, like November. And we had some major push, something that we had to release. I was working frantically with the team, and we are coding, pushing builds, making changes. But very quickly, we were hitting almost like the next day was the deadline, but we were not there. A lot of bugs and stuff that was expected to be there was not there. So I was in a room with the CEO and a couple of others and some of my devs, and we were all like, what's going on, trying to fix things, and we kind of got into an argument. And it was really like, how come you missed this? We should have thought about this. No, we made this as per the requirements, and the usual how you have when you have a gap. But in that moment, my CEO was really like, I think you guys tried to do too much and you lost focus. That moment, I felt really bad. I thought I did everything I could to the best of my ability for what is expected, but clearly it wasn't enough. And then that conversation in that room made me realize what's going on. That's when it hit me that there's a word for it. It's called getting burnt out. Sorry. How many of you heard this thing called burnout? Quick show of hands. Okay, a lot of you know this. Great. So then I, over time, improved, understood how I can get over it, how I can get better at doing things, because I'm very passionate about building software. I know you are all too. So there are a lot of things I tried, I learned, some worked, some didn't. And after going through that, I really thought that, okay, I probably should share this to others. Because imagine, you want to do a lot of awesome things. You want to be able to go to work, or just whenever you open your laptop and start coding, you want to be able to know that, yes, this is what I want to do. And once you start doing, you don't want to end up burnt out. So I'd like to share some of the things that worked for me, some things that I think added value to me, And I hope there will be some of these things that you can take away and be really able to do what you really love. So the first thing is big picture. How many of you, when you started on a project, whether you're working for a client as a freelancer or even in a company, how many of you on the first day, someone walked up to you and told you, okay, let me explain you the whole thing. This is the architecture, and this is why you're building this. Did anyone tell you that on the first day? Not many. So it's not common that someone comes and tells you this. But then, a lot of times, not knowing where exactly what you do fits creates a lot of pressure, because suddenly your boss or your client can say, I need this shipped 1 or 2 weeks earlier than what we thought. That's quite common. You are like, but wait, but I don't know, why are you putting pressure? So it's very hard for us to understand why certain things are shifting what you want to do and how it affects your plans. It creates a lot of stress. So I would say knowing the big picture really helps. So how do you know the big picture? When you start something, ask for that. Tell me the whole system. Explain me what exactly is going on, and then how you're doing. Whether you're front end, you're doing some microservices in the Node.js using backend, but still, ask and understand. And also from the context of where your software is actually going to be used. That's important, because those are the factors that you don't think about because you're so focused, and then later you realize that all those variables affect. The next thing is about knowing your needs. So this is something that I realized quite later. I always had, luckily, people who are my seniors or managers who always knew what I was doing, what I needed, and when I had a situation or an issue, they always figured out what is it that I need to do. So when I go talk to them, they're like, okay, yeah, this is going on, this is what you need to do. But then, once I had a different manager, I moved to another team, and I started working with someone else. And the first conversation I had, I was waiting in the room, and then he comes and introduction and just chat for 2-3 minutes, and then the question is, what do you need from me? I'm like, okay, I thought you're my boss. You should be knowing this. You naturally expect that you would tell me what I need to do. But that was the first time. And then second time and third time, it was the same way. Then I started thinking, why is he asking me all the time, what do I need? Isn't that exactly why he's there? But over time, I realized that what you think you need might be different from what they think that you need. And that's one thing. Then I started to go prepared beforehand, rather than just simply telling, hey, here's the problem that I have, or we have to take care of this. I also go with saying, what do I need? Like, okay, our bills are constantly breaking. I need some help on some DevOps guy to come and help me to check that. Or I'm trying to solve this technical problem, but I've never done that aspect. Do you know someone who knows this so that I can talk and understand? Not only for technical aspects, for anything else also. Always being conscious and aware of what is it that I need on a given day or for a given week helps a lot in not only for you to understand where you're lacking or where you need help, but also it helps someone else to be able to help you. Because if you think about it, software is a people thing. It's about you making a difference. So everyone else is there to help you to do that better. So if you don't know and tell, it'll be very hard for others to help. So remember always to take a second and think, what do I need? And that simple question will definitely help you to understand and ask. The other thing is checkpoints. Usually most of us follow sprints, right? And we are releasing software like that. It's kind of the standard. So usually when you finish the sprint, you have a sprint retro. That's usually the one place where we check, okay, how did we do? What happened? Did we do it well or not? Yeah, this thing was great. Yeah, that guy sucked, or we didn't get the requirements properly. So that's one forum where we share our concerns. But when you are trying to do this, and when you're moving teams or your sprints are changing, who is asking about you? You should think, wait, so how did I do so far? There's no sprints for you. No one's conducting a retro for you. So I think it's really important to have a ritual of checkpoints where you can just stop, look back, and assess. Okay, I wanted to do these things. Have I been able to do? I wanted to see those 2 YouTube videos, and I wanted to read these few blogs, and I wanted to try that library. Have I been able to do it? Oh, I wanted to take, more breaks this week when I work instead of constantly working. Have I been able to do that? So that kind of simple checkpoints to just step back and assess helps a lot. It helped me a lot in knowing what is it that you're not doing, or sometimes when you do stuff, you like something so much that you're really going into it, and then you might lose the whole focus of why you're doing it in the first place. So having checkpoints, just like how it helps software delivery, will help us also. The next thing is these 3 people. I know I talk to my mom, and you have friends where you can chat and hang out and talk about stuff. But over time, I've learned that there are 3 people who I really need as a support in terms of doing what I love to do most. First is a peer, someone who is like you, working on similar things, doing usually in the same context. Like if I'm a developer, someone like a developer. If I'm a team lead, someone who is another team lead. So that it gives me the chance to talk and then discuss what's going on, more also at a work level. So that, hey man, this thing happened, and I tried to build this thing, but it doesn't work. And that guy might say, oh yeah, I tried that too, and it took me 8 hours to solve this. And then okay, I should not try that. So that kind of tips will really help, and you will be really comfortable in talking to them. The second one, which was not obvious to me in the beginning, but was knowing and having someone as a go-to guy who is senior. Someone who is not too experienced, but someone who is like maybe 2-3 years, or someone who knows whatever you're trying to do a little better than you. I learned that because I was working on graph databases 5-6 years ago, and there was this architect who was really good at that. But then, sometimes when I wanted to go and ask, I was like, I don't want to look stupid. If I ask this thing, he might think I don't know anything about this. So it holds you back. It held me back. So over time, I learned, okay, it'll be great if there's someone who is just a little more senior, because you can go and ask, hey man, I'm trying this, but I don't know if it's not working. And then they'll be able to say, oh yeah, you need to do this, try it out, and let me know. Because people are willing to help, and seniors, a lot of them are. So if you don't know someone, find one so that you will be able to ask for any suggestions. The third one is mentor. How many of you think that you have a mentor? Okay, very few. So mentor is someone who is very seasoned in what you're trying to do, someone you respect, and someone who has a lot of knowledge on this so that they can guide you about how you can go forward. It's someone who is like an adventurer and who can lay out the whole map and say, okay, here's possibly the treasure, these are the ways I took, these are the ways people go, and if you go this path, there is a river, you need to cross that. So someone who can tell you how to navigate this and also coach you. I know usually in most of the situations, our mentor tends to be our boss, but it need not be. A mentor can be someone who is outside your work. Obviously, you can't talk about confidential information. Don't violate any company policies if there are. But someone who can discuss the situations and also coach you in terms of growing. I found it really valuable. And if you don't have one, you should go find one. Check the people who you like, the ones you follow on Twitter or even YouTube. Someone who is in the same town is better because you can go and meet them. But if not, I know people who have mentors who are like online and they talk to each other regularly. So reach and ask. You'd be surprised. Some of them will probably say, yes, yeah, I would like to mentor you. I would like to coach you. So don't feel shy. Don't hesitate to ask and find someone who can really guide you in this. It'll add a lot of value. The other aspect is expanded memory. So when I started, I was very confident. I remembered things very well. That's what I always used to think. But over time, that's not the case. Maybe because I'm getting old, that's obvious. But remembering everything at first was fun. It was like, okay, I'm good at this. But then slowly it became a burden because there's a lot of things to remember. I have to check on how the bills are. I have to check on how the performance is. I have to check and see how we are doing overall. I have to send emails. I have to remember to talk to people and ask, hey, is that thing what we were working on? Where are we? Or if you're working with a client, that will be key because if you're freelancing and you're talking to a client, you wouldn't remember some things, and then suddenly you realize it puts a lot of pressure on, oh shit, I forgot that. So a lot of times that happens, and I think we should all acknowledge that and start to leverage the tools we have. Like, start taking notes. Not only just notes, you can use, there are a lot of integrations right now, Google Keep, Trello, or even simple notepads. Leverage reminders, link your notes to reminders, your action items so that they pop up without you trying to remember and figure out what's going on. And it also, because we are all data-driven, right, we like to see audits. So you will be able to see over time how the things that you're doing are changing. And if you're really into analyzing your productivity, you can make a graph out of it. The other key thing is expectations. Expectations sounds pretty generic, but a lot of times what I've seen is expectations are what create a lot of churn. I'll tell you how. When we build software, usually we have user stories, clear requirements, there's something described, and we build it. Great. But then a lot of the things where we have problems is integrations, not having the right data, or missing some requirements. Stuff like this does not go into the story a lot of times, as much as we wish. So a lot of these untracked things that are not test cases running on your repos, or things that are not a checklist, those are expectations which actually affect us. So because it was not obvious, same things happen to me. Many times you do something, that's not what someone's expecting, and then you again redo it, you lose a lot of time. And also it kind of erodes the whole morale. What I realized is to be a little more dumb and just repeat what they're saying. If I go into a meeting and if you walk out with understanding something, if there's something for me to do or for you to do, just ask. Okay, so you want me to check this thing and let you know by 9 a.m. tomorrow. The same way, if you're doing a larger project or something a little more with many people, always remember to state what is it that they're expecting, because knowing what they're expecting from you is very important. Not only just doing, but also making sure that both parties or both the people involved are clear about what is it expected from you, what is it expected from the other person. The next thing is effective communication. We all know what communication is. Communication is sharing information and exchanging. But tell me this, how many of you had this scenario where you're trying to explain something to someone, they're not getting it, and then you try to add more and more details, they're not getting it, and then you start getting agitated and you're like, I'm trying to tell you with all this information, you're not getting it, but then the conversation ends with not being able to convey that. Did anyone experience that? I think it happens a lot. So I had this problem before too. I always thought the more data I give, the more information I give, the more easier it should be for someone else to understand what is it that I'm trying to say. But that's not the case, because effective communication is not just about giving more data, more information. It's about understanding the intention behind it, understanding the emotions, and making sure we're stating clearly at a level of abstraction that others understand. And then you can go into the details. So this is a notion of a subject. There's tons of books, lots of blogs, so many speakers focusing on just this. And this is like a life skill. I really believe this is a life skill that you constantly learn and hone. But for starters, I would definitely say, learn to state clearly what is it that you want to say, Don't try to put a lot of information up front, because you should be able to abstract better, just like our code. And then you start giving more information, and you also learn to listen. That's very important, because that tells you how the other person is seeing it. So then you will be able to explain that in a much better way, rather than just trying to give your way of you think that all the info they should need. It takes time. It's not easy, but this is a true sign of someone who is maturing as a professional. And you will see that as you grow, this is an invaluable asset. And the last thing I would like to say is about finding your niche. Niche is a comfortable position, something that's like your calling or a vocation. I didn't realize this in the beginning, because every day there are so many new tools coming. To do the same thing, there are 5 libraries. There are so many new data structures. There's a lot of new things, interesting things, amazing things to learn and do. So as you go wide in learning all this, one day you do this, the next day you want to try an ML program, the third day I want to do some other new data engine that comes out, you want to try it. It's great, you learn all these things, but at the same time, you need to find something that really spikes your interest and holds it. The moment you find something like that, try to go deep. Go really deep into it, because there will be a place where you can try so many things, understand the internals very well, and that will also give you joy. There's a deep joy in deep learning. Not the deep learning with the AI, but the real deep learning on you, on your actual neural networks. So after getting burnt out, and then when I was trying to figure out, fix, and improve a lot of things, this was one aspect which I was really trying to figure, like, what is my niche? Where am I more comfortable? Where is it that I really want to grow and learn and be happy doing it? So after trying different things, I think I found my niche in more about working in groups and working with people and seeing them working with me together, making complex software systems, tackling complex problems, and building good software. So your niche can be something else. You know, some might like just conveying ideas better. Some like to just go into data systems, or some like to go and build amazingly beautiful visuals and animations. So you should definitely think about this, because not only it helps you and gives you the joy, but when you specialize, you will be in demand as a professional as well. So that way you will be able to not only do what you love and get joy from it, and be able to also feel comfortable doing it. So if you don't have one, I would really say that you should start searching for what's your niche. So in summary, all these things that we talked about on a high level can be grouped into 3 aspects. Awareness of what's the big picture, or awareness of knowing what you need, and support system. The people, the 3 people we talked about, your peer, your senior, your mentor, and also making sure you're having checkpoints, and the mindset of being able to communicate clear, willing to receive feedback, and about setting expectations and meeting them, and also learning and growing and finding your niche. So these are the aspects that helped me a lot in growing, and I think given that we have so many things that we can do, and there are so many other aspects that we can work on, with all the possibilities and all the growth that's happening, I would say that the ball is in your hands, and you can kick it as far as you can. But before you do that, I would humbly request you all to stop and think. Pará, la pelota. Thank you. I'd really like to thank the NodeConf organizers. Awesome venue, awesome people. And at the same time, I would like to remind you that we at Elementum are doing a lot of good things about building good software and working on solving some complex problems. We have a technical challenge. I just wanted to remind you about that. It's a coding challenge. It's super fun. And if you're interested, I would highly recommend you to try it. If you sign up, there's a mini drone to take. And then if you enter and win it, you finish it, and there's a raffle at 6 p.m. that you'll be entered into. And you can get a real big drone, which you can use to fly anywhere you want. So thanks for your time. Appreciate it.